Dr. Elena Rice stares at the readings in disbelief as alarms blare throughout the underground Antarctic research facility. Her hands shake, not from the sub-zero temperatures outside, but from the realization that her impossible experiment worked. 3 years of ridicule from the scientific establishment, 2 denied grants, and 1 divorce later, her quantum boundary disruptor has torn a hole in reality itself. As the tear stabilizes, emitting an otherworldly blue glow that pulses like a heartbeat, Elena's research assistant Hiroshi backs away in terror. "We need to shut it down," he whispers. But Elena steps closer, transfixed by the mathematical patterns swirling within the anomaly, patterns that match her equations exactly. "Get me the high-resolution scanners," she orders instead, "and call the director." The tear hovers 3 meters above the laboratory floor, a perfect oval of midnight blue surrounded by crackling energy. Inside, something moves. Not objects, not entities, but possibilities, like watching quantum states collapse and expand simultaneously. "Dr. Rice, with all due respect, we have no idea what we just opened," Hiroshi says, his voice steadier now, but still edged with fear. "The energy readings are off the charts, and the gravitational disruptions could destabilize the entire ice shelf." Elena barely hears him. She's already recalibrating the sensors, redirecting them toward the anomaly. "Don't you understand what we've done? This isn't just a tear in space-time. It's a window into another dimensional plane entirely." The facility's backup generators kick in as the main power grid fluctuates under the strain of maintaining the quantum field stabilizers. Outside their reinforced lab, technicians and security personnel evacuate non-essential staff. "The university board said this was theoretically impossible," Elena murmurs, a hint of vindication in her voice. "They said my reconfiguration equations were mathematically sound, but physically unsustainable. Yet here we are." Hiroshi checks the structural integrity monitors. The containment field is holding, but these readings... He points to a screen showing rapidly escalating quantum flux. "This isn't just bending space-time. We're fracturing it." Elena nods, her initial shock giving way to scientific focus. The boundary between dimensions isn't a wall. It's a membrane. And we've just proven it can be penetrated with relatively minimal energy, provided the quantum harmonics are precisely calibrated. The tear pulses, expanding slightly before contracting again. Each pulse sends cascading waves of blue-violet light across the laboratory ceiling. Director Chen is on the secure line, calls a technician from the communication station. "And ma'am, we're getting calls from NORAD, Beijing Space Command, and ESA. They're all detecting the quantum disruption from orbit." "Tell them." Elena begins, but stops as something new appears in the tear. A pattern of light, organized and deliberate, pulses from within the anomaly. "Is that?" Hiroshi whispers. "A signal," Elena confirms, her voice hushed with awe. "Someone, or something, on the other side knows we're here." Before she can issue new instructions, the facility's communication system crackles with urgent messages. Military transport planes are already airborne, heading toward their coordinates. The Chinese, Russians, and Americans have all detected the anomaly and are deploying assets to the Antarctic. "Hiroshi, back up all our data. Now." Elena turns to the tear, her scientific caution warring with overwhelming curiosity. Whatever happens next, humanity just became a dimensional player. And we need to understand what we've done before the military tries to weaponize it. The tear pulses once more, stronger this time. The signal repeats, now forming distinct patterns that the computer begins translating into mathematical sequences, the universal language that transcends dimensional barriers. First contact wasn't coming from the stars after all. It was coming from between the very fabric of reality itself. "We come through void between worlds. We are curious." The translator program struggles with the strange syntax of the beings now calling themselves voidwalkers. Their physical forms shift constantly, sometimes appearing humanoid, other times morphing into geometric patterns that hurt human eyes to follow. General Marquez grits her sidearm tighter as the lid Voidwalker extends what might be a limb toward Elena. Your gateway. Crude. Unstable. Beautiful. It tilts its constantly reshaping head. Impossible for such young species. Elena steps forward despite the security team's protests. Yet here we are. How many trials before success? The Voidwalker asks. Just one. Elena replies. The dimensional visitors exchange looks of what humans later interpret as shocked horror. Elena notices the subtle shift in the atmosphere, the military personnel tense, fingers closer to triggers, while the Voidwalker's forms fluctuate more rapidly, colors shifting through spectrums humans can barely perceive. 2 weeks after first contact, the Antarctic facility has transformed. What began as Elena's modest research lab now sprawls across the ice in prefabricated structures. Scientists from 17 nations work alongside military personnel from 5 major powers, all united by the unprecedented situation. Direct communication with beings from another dimension. Elena studies the data streams scrolling across her tablet as Voidwalker mathematical principles reshape human understanding of physics in real time. They're giving us centuries of dimensional science, she tells Hiroshi, who hasn't slept in 36 hours. But there's something they're not telling us. Hiroshi nods toward the central chamber, where 3 Voidwalkers hover near the still active tear. They keep examining the gateway, running their own measurements. I've noticed a pattern. They're concerned about its rate of expansion. Elena pulls up the stability readings and frowns. According to our instruments, the tear is perfectly contained within our quantum field. Maybe their instruments see something ours can't, Hiroshi suggests. That night, Elena works alone in her private lab, running simulations based on the Voidwalker's mathematical frameworks. What she discovers chills her to the bone. The tear is expanding, but not in 3-dimensional space. It's growing through dimensional layers, invisible to conventional instruments but dangerously unstable at the quantum level. By dawn, she's confirmed her findings. According to the projections, both universes will begin catastrophic collapse within months. When Elena presents her findings to the International Scientific Committee, chaos erupts. Military strategists demand weaponization research before the collapse. Religious representatives call for the immediate closure of the doorway to hell. Corporate interests petition for dimensional mining rights. Don't they understand we're talking about the end of everything? Elena whispers to General Marquez during a brief recess. People respond to extinction-level threats in predictable ways, Marquez says, her expression grim. Denial. Opportunism. Or fatalism. Elena's secure tablet chimes with an encrypted message. Somehow the Voidwalkers have bypassed military-grade security protocols to send her a private communication. Others coming. Not all curious. Some fearful. Fear makes universe-enders of even peaceful species. Your world must prepare. Elena reads it twice, then shows Marquez. What does it mean? The general asks. It means, Elena says, that dimensional politics are about to complicate our already impossible situation. Outside the command center, protesters gather despite the Antarctic cold. Their signs range from apocalyptic warnings to celebrations of humanity's ascension. News feeds worldwide broadcast competing narratives about the tear and what it means for humanity's future. As Elena prepares to question the Voidwalkers directly about their warning, the tear suddenly pulses with unprecedented energy. Alarms blare throughout the facility. Multiple dimensional signatures detected, a technician calls out. These aren't Voidwalkers. Something much bigger is coming through. They arrive with overwhelming technological might. 7 crystalline ships materializing directly through the Antarctic fracture, bypassing Earth's defensive perimeter entirely. The delegation from the Multiversal Coalition doesn't request an audience with world leaders. They command it. In the hastily assembled United Nations emergency session, the Coalition ambassador, a being composed of shifting light patterns encased in what appears to be liquid metal, addresses humanity with poorly concealed panic. You are classified as a Level 2 species. It states holographic displays materializing to show Earth's technological development compared to thousands of other worlds. Level 2 species cannot, should not, be capable of dimensional manipulation. Your existence in our records spans less than a cosmic breath. You have barely mastered your own planetary climate. You still fight over resources. Elena watches from the scientific advisory section as the ambassador's form becomes increasingly erratic. And yet, somehow, you've accomplished what our leading dimensional architects thought impossible without centuries of preparation. The UN Security Council chamber falls silent as the holographic display shifts to show the aftermath of dimensional disasters on other worlds, civilizations reduced to cosmic dust, planets shattered by reality collapse, entire star systems consumed by what the translator terms void cascade events. The dimensional anomaly you've created must be closed immediately. The ambassador continues. All research must be destroyed. All knowledge of dimensional manipulation techniques must be purged from your information systems. The UN Secretary General, a normally unflappable diplomat, struggles to maintain composure. With all due respect, Ambassador, your demands infringe upon our sovereignty. We understand your concerns, but surely we can discuss collaboration rather than capitulation. The ambassador's form fluctuates violently. You mistake the situation, human. This is not a negotiation. The coalition oversees dimensional stability across 17 major reality clusters. Your experiment threatens this stability. How? Elena stands, despite protocol. We've contained the tear within a quantum field. We're learning to stabilize it further with techniques shared by the Voidwalkers. The ambassador turns toward her, its luminous form dimming slightly. Dr. Elena Reyes, primary architect of dimensional disaster, primary architect of a breakthrough. Elena counters. One your own records claimed was impossible for us. Perhaps impossible was preferable. The ambassador replies coldly. When the Secretary General presses for justification beyond vague warnings about multiverse stability, the ambassador's dismissive response sends a chill through the assembly hall. Your species doesn't comprehend the danger, it says. Dimensional technology must develop alongside ethical constraints. Unguided advancement leads to collapse. As the session dissolves into chaotic debate, Elena finds herself approached by a smaller coalition entity, a crystalline being that identifies itself as a scientific attaché. The ambassador speaks from fear. It communicates directly to Elena's neural implant, bypassing all security protocols with disturbing ease. Your achievement challenges our fundamental understanding of dimensional physics. A level 2 civilization should require at least 37 more developmental stages before achieving what you did by. What is your term? Accident. Not accident. Elena corrects. Insight. The crystalline being pulses with what might be the equivalent of a contemplative nod. This distinction may be significant. Outside the UN building, global media broadcasts images of coalition vessels positioned in Earth orbit. Military satellites report advanced weapon systems, unlike anything in human arsenals. That evening, as Elena returns to her temporary quarters, General Marquez awaits her. They're terrified of us, the general observes. Not what we've done, what we might do. Elena nods, reviewing security footage of coalition representatives examining Earth cultural archives with apparent alarm. They expected us to beg for protection, to surrender our research for safety. They didn't expect us to demand answers. On screens worldwide, coalition ships position themselves above major research centers, weapons systems humming with potential energy. They don't understand that nothing unifies humanity faster than an external threat telling them what they cannot achieve. How long before they realize diplomacy has failed? Elena asks. It already has. Marquez replies, showing Elena classified satellite imagery. They're preparing for containment operations. The question is, are we? 16-year-old Mai Chen live streams the impossible sight. Cherry blossoms falling upward in Tokyo's Ueno Park. In Cairo, Worshippers watch in awe as the interior of the Muhammad Ali Mosque briefly phases to reveal an alternate version, where the structure appears built from living crystal. A fishing boat off the coast of Chell finds itself momentarily sailing through what the crew describes as sky ocean, before reality snaps back. The Coalition's blockade of Earth becomes irrelevant as reality itself rebels. Microscopic tears in the dimensional fabric begin appearing globally. Hundreds, then thousands of fractures. Each one creates localized phenomena that defy physics. Gravity inversions, time dilation, matter phase shifting, and glimpses of parallel Earths. This is impossible, a Coalition scientist named Helix admits during an emergency conference. His species evolved in a gas giant's upper atmosphere, his body housed in a specialized containment suit. The fracture pattern should be expanding outward from the original tear. Instead, it's appearing simultaneously across your entire planet. Elena examines the global fracture map, a three-dimensional hologram showing thousands of reality disruptions blinking into existence hourly. They're clustering around population centers, she observes. Tokyo, Mumbai, Lagos, Mexico City, all experiencing twice the fractured density of less populated regions. Could it be related to electromagnetic output? Suggests a Chinese physicist. Human technology creating dimensional weak points. No, Elena says slowly, a theory forming. It's not our technology. It's us. Brain scans confirm her hypothesis. Human consciousness is somehow catalyzing the dimensional breakdown. EEG patterns from subjects near fracture zones show neural oscillations that perfectly match the quantum frequency of the original Antarctic tear. Your species possesses a form of quantum entanglement with the fabric of reality itself. Helix explains, fascinated despite his fear. In all our records, we've never encountered this. The Coalition ambassador demands an emergency session with Earth's scientific leadership. His form pulses with barely controlled agitation as he reviews Elena's findings. You still don't comprehend the magnitude of the crisis, he insists. These fractures aren't isolated events. They're symptoms of dimensional collapse progressing at an unprecedented rate. Then help us, Elena challenges. If the Coalition truly possesses superior understanding of dimensional physics, share it. Help us stabilize the fractures. The ambassador's form dims. We cannot. Elena stares in disbelief. Cannot, or will not. Cannot. Helix interjects, stepping forward despite the ambassador's warning gesture. The specific pattern of fracture propagation you're experiencing has never been documented in Coalition records. Our dimensional stabilization techniques were developed for very different types of breaches. In that moment of honesty, the power dynamic shifts subtly. The Coalition isn't withholding solutions. They simply don't have any. In a fortified bunker beneath Geneva, Elena gathers scientists from 37 nations, former rivals now working desperately together. Holographic displays show reality fractures increasing exponentially worldwide. If conventional physics can't solve this, we need unconventional approaches, Elena says. If our consciousness affects these fractures, perhaps we can control them rather than fight them. She displays schematics for a modified quantum boundary manipulator, a global network of devices designed not to close the fractures, but to harmonize with them. This is heresy, a Coalition observer objects. Dimensional stability requires sealing breaches, not exploiting them. That's your approach, Elena counters. And it's failing. We need to try something that hasn't been attempted before. General Marquez, now leading Earth's unified defense, asks what Elena needs. Everything, Elena answers, and everyone with the courage to rewrite the laws of physics. As the meeting concludes, reports arrive of children in fracture zones, navigating reality distortions with unprecedented ease. Some can predict where fractures will appear. Others walk through them unharmed. Evolution in real time, Hiroshi whispers, reviewing the data. Humanity is adapting. In orbit, Coalition vessels monitor the accelerating crisis, their sensors detecting something their commanders refuse to acknowledge. Earth isn't just breaking under dimensional pressure, it's transforming. 3 months into what global media now calls the fracturing, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka documents the first confirmed case of human adaptation. 5-year-old Sophia Williams, born in a hospital adjacent to a major fracture zone in Sydney, walks calmly through a reality distortion that sends adults into seizures. When asked how she navigates the shifting physics, she shrugs. "I just know which parts are real." Sophia's brain scans reveal unprecedented neural architecture, quantum-entangled synaptic patterns that somehow process multiple dimensional states simultaneously. What should be neurologically impossible has become her normal. 2 weeks later, cases multiply. Teenagers in Seoul develop a game of reality parkour, leaping into fracture zones to briefly phase into parallel dimensions before returning. In Nairobi, street vendors somehow sense approaching fracture waves minutes before detection equipment registers them. Elena watches footage of a Rio de Janeiro firefighter, seemingly manipulating a reality distortion to rescue a child trapped in a collapsed building. It's as if our neurological structure is rewiring itself, she hypothesizes during an emergency conference call with global research teams, adapting to new dimensional constants that should be lethal. From their observation vessels, the coalition monitors human adaptation with escalating alarm. Telex, now permanently assigned as scientific liaison to Earth, shares classified data with Elena's team. Our most advanced species required centuries of genetic engineering to survive even brief dimensional exposure, he explains, his crystalline form vibrating with agitation. You're doing it spontaneously within months. Elena studies the comparative neurological data. Evolution accelerates under extreme pressure. It's a basic principle of Earth biology. Not like this, Telex counters. This isn't evolution, it's activation. Something dormant in your neural structure is awakening. During a classified coalition briefing, Telex presents a theory that sends ripples of panic through their leadership. Holographic displays show side-by-side comparisons of human DNA and ancient dimensional artifacts. Their DNA contains specific quantum resonance patterns, he explains reluctantly. Patterns documented in only one other place, ancient ruins in the Omega Void. He hesitates before continuing. Ruins attributed to the reality architects. The chamber erupts in chaotic debate. The reality architects, a mythical civilization believed to have established the fundamental laws of the multiverse before vanishing, were considered mere legend by most coalition species. The implications are too disturbing to contemplate. Speculation without sufficient evidence, the ambassador dismisses, but the damage is done. Observational data on human adaptation becomes immediately classified. Coalition security forces receive encrypted orders. Preparation for complete quarantine of Earth, regardless of civilian casualties. Meanwhile, Elena's global network of modified quantum disruptors approaches completion. Research facilities on 6 continents work continuously, building devices designed to stabilize rather than close the fractures. Working in her Geneva laboratory, Elena accidentally cuts her hand on a calibration tool. When her blood contacts an active fracture sample, something unprecedented happens. The tear stabilizes momentarily, responding to her bioelectric field. Security footage captures the phenomenon, showing the fracture's chaotic energy patterns briefly aligning with her cellular structure. "Our blood," she whispers to General Marquez as they watch the recording. "Something in our very cells speaks to these fractures." Additional tests confirm human biological material contains unique quantum properties that resonate with dimensional energy. Not just neural patterns, but fundamental cellular structures seem designed to interact with the dimensional fabric of reality. Marquez's secure tablet chimes with an urgent alert. Coalition vessels are repositioning around Earth, forming what military analysts identify as an offensive formation. They know, Elena realizes, they've discovered what we're becoming. In fracture zones worldwide, children like Sophia Williams begin demonstrating abilities that transcend established physics. Some can see dimensional currents flowing between worlds. Others briefly manifest objects from parallel realities. A group of teenagers in Bangalore successfully communicates with their alternate selves across dimensional barriers. Humanity isn't just adapting to survive the fracturing. It's evolving to thrive within it. And the Coalition finds this prospect far more terrifying than the fractures themselves. The Coalition strikes without warning. Massive dimensional engines deploy around Earth's orbital plane, warping space-time itself. Humanity watches in horror as stars begin disappearing from the night sky, not because they're gone, but because Earth is being sealed away in what Coalition commanders call a reality quarantine. The dimensional pressure will slowly constrict, explains a captured Coalition officer, his crystalline form pulsing with resigned determination. Within one local year, all fractures will collapse inward, destroying your world, but preserving the wider multiverse. In secure bunkers worldwide, scientists and military leaders assess the situation. The effect is immediate and severe. Fracture zones intensify. Global communications fail intermittently. The International Space Station crew reports watching Earth flicker like a dying hologram from orbit. Elena studies sensor readings from the dimensional barrier now enclosing Earth. They're creating a controlled collapse, she explains to the Emergency Council, slowly contracting our dimensional pocket until nothing remains. Yet the Coalition's strategy backfires spectacularly. The dimensional pressure forces rapid human adaptation. Children in fracture zones develop startling abilities. Some can see dimensional currents, others can momentarily step between realities. Military research incorporates fracture physics into experimental weapons technology. Most significantly, humans start developing technologies that should be centuries beyond their capability. In Seoul, engineers create matter phase shifters that allow transportation through fractured zones. Resilient scientists develop dimensional anchors that stabilize local reality pockets. Indian programmers write algorithms that predict fracture patterns with 87% accuracy. We're witnessing technological evolution that should take centuries, Hiroshi tells Elena during a rare moment of rest. It's as if the pressure is forcing human ingenuity into overdrive. Elena makes the breakthrough during month 3 of the siege. Studying a major fracture beneath Geneva, she realizes the truth. These aren't just tears in reality. They're windows into the underlying architecture of existence. Her team uses modified sensors to peer through fractures at a level beyond physical dimensions. What they discover changes everything. The fractures reveal mathematical patterns, dimensional code that governs multiverse stability. It's like discovering that reality is a simulation, Elena explains to General Marquez. Except it's not a simulation, it's a construction. Dimensional layers built on mathematical principles. While Coalition species spent millennia observing these patterns from the outside, humans are seeing them from within, giving them unprecedented insight. It's like the difference between watching someone write code and actually seeing the operating system. Elena explains to an emergency UN session. We're not just observers of dimensional physics. We're becoming part of it. As Coalition forces prepare for the final constriction phase, they're baffled by unexplained equipment failures and dimensional anomalies around their vessels. Their most sophisticated sensors detect inexplicable energy signatures emanating from Earth, signatures that match no known technological profile. They don't yet realize that human scientists working in hidden facilities worldwide are already rewriting the rules the Coalition believes immutable. In a secured bunker, 16-year-old Sophia Williams, the first documented adapter, shows Elena something impossible. She's learned to read the code within fractures, and more importantly, how to edit it. The Coalition thinks they're closing a door. Sophia says, her eyes reflecting dimensional currents only she can see. But they've actually shown us how the lock works. With trembling hands, Elena sends the encrypted message to research teams on 6 continents. Project Countermeasure is viable. Begin final assembly. In orbit, Coalition commanders observe with false confidence as Earth's fracture activity appears to diminish. Their sensors, calibrated to detect conventional dimensional manipulation, fail to register the entirely new approach humanity has developed, one that doesn't fight against the multiverse's structure, but works with it. How long until the network is ready? Marquez asks. 2 weeks, Alina answers, watching Sophia effortlessly manipulate a fracture with a gesture. Maybe less. The children are teaching us faster than we expected. The Coalition has initiated a siege designed to eradicate what they fear. Instead, they've created the very conditions needed for humanity's dimensional awakening. Synchronization in 30 seconds, Alina announces over the global quantum network. In underground facilities, mountaintop observatories, oceanic platforms, and orbital stations, scientists make final adjustments to what humanity has designated the dimensional restructuring network. 6 months of Coalition siege has transformed Earth. Reality fractures have become integrated into daily life. Urban planners incorporate stable fracture zones into city infrastructure. Children born during the fracturing navigate dimensional shifts as naturally as walking. Modified quantum disruptors, now merged with human Coalition hybrid technology, stand ready worldwide. But unlike the Coalition's approach of forcing reality to obey, humanity's approach is distinctly different. Remember, Alina transmits to over 15,000 operators. We're not fighting dimension physics. We're dancing with it. In Geneva, Sophia Williams stands at the primary control node, her consciousness extended through specialized interfaces. Around her, 30 other adapted children form a neural network, their minds linking with the dimensional currents. General Marquez watches nervously from the command center. If this fails, it won't, Alina says with quiet confidence. The Coalition tries to impose order on dimensional chaos. We're embracing the chaos, becoming part of its pattern. The synchronized activation creates a breathtaking spectacle. Instead of the expected violent energy release, thousands of precisely calibrated mini-fractures bloom around Earth in geometric patterns that somehow feel both mathematical and artistic. Flowing lines of dimensional energy connect in mandalas of increasing complexity, forming a structure that the human mind recognizes as beautiful despite its impossible geometry. From orbit, Coalition observers register catastrophic sensor failure as their dimensional engines suddenly lose power. Emergency protocols activate automatically, redirecting energy to life support systems. On the Coalition command vessel, alarms blare as reality itself seems to shift around them. What's happening? Demands the ambassador, his form fluctuating wildly. Telex, monitoring the energy patterns, watches in forbidden awe. They've created a pocket dimension, he explains, voice hushed. Not by forcing reality apart as we do, but by persuading it. The Coalition's most sophisticated simulations projected that such an attempt would annihilate Earth's solar system at minimum. Instead, the newly designated human enclave actually begins healing nearby dimensional damage, stabilizing fractures throughout the local multiverse cluster that Coalition technology had deemed permanently compromised. On Earth, Alina and her team watch their instruments with mounting excitement. The network isn't just protecting Earth, it's extending outward, incorporating empty dimensional spaces with mathematical precision. It's working better than we predicted, Hiroshi says, reviewing the data. The fracture network is self-organizing according to Sophia's template. Most shocking of all, Alina's team discovers they can expand the enclave methodically, incorporating empty dimensional spaces using a fraction of the energy Coalition technology requires. It's as if reality itself responds differently to human interaction. In orbit, Coalition vessels retreat to defensive positions, their weapon systems powerless against a dimensional transformation they barely comprehend. The ambassador convenes an emergency session with his commanders. This defies all established dimensional theory, he insists. A level 2 species cannot, should not, be capable of this level of dimensional manipulation. Perhaps our theories are incomplete, Telex suggests cautiously. As Coalition forces regroup, Telex secretly transmits to Alina. The council is meeting in emergency session. Half want to destroy you immediately. Half want to understand how you've done the impossible. Either way, you've changed everything. From the Dimensional Oversight Center in repurposed CERN facilities, Elena watches Earth's new protective barrier shimmer with possibilities. The fracture network pulses with life, responding to human consciousness in ways coalition technology never could. We certainly have, she agrees, watching as adapted children like Sophia communicate directly with the dimensional currents, their minds interfacing with the fundamental structure of reality itself. Humanity hasn't just survived the dimensional crisis. They've embraced it, transformed through it, and emerged as something the multiverse has never seen before, a species that speaks the language of reality itself. The diplomatic vessel materializes at the exact halfway point between coalition space and the rapidly expanding human enclave. Inside the specially constructed neutral chamber, where 13 different physical constants have been carefully balanced to accommodate all delegates, Elena observes her reflection in a dimensional mirror. 5 years have transformed her. Parts of her exist simultaneously across multiple reality layers, an adaptation even the most advanced coalition species haven't achieved. Sophia, now 21 and Earth's first officially recognized dimensional interpreter, stands beside her. They're afraid, Sophia whispers, sensing the coalition delegation's emotional states across dimensional barriers. Not just of us, of what we represent. The chamber fills with representatives from 17 reality clusters. Some appear as energy constructs, others as biological entities housed in specialized containment fields. All regard the human delegation with a mixture of fear, respect, and curiosity. The coalition's supreme architect, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate mechanical shell, addresses the assembled delegates. In 5 years, humanity has stabilized dimensional fractures throughout 3 sectors our most advanced technologies fail to repair. You've developed adaptation capabilities that should take millennia of guided evolution. Displays materialize, showing before and after images of cosmic-scale dimensional damage, now healed through human intervention. Coalition scientists present data on dimensional stability readings, all showing unprecedented improvement across affected zones. We acknowledge, the Supreme Architect continues reluctantly, that our assessment of human potential was incomplete. The subtext is clear. The multiverse may need humanity more than humanity needs the coalition. Elena presents Earth's proposal, a new partnership. Human dimensional engineers will help maintain troubled regions of the multiverse in exchange for knowledge and recognition as equals. The terms include unrestricted exploration rights and a seat on the Coalition's governing council. The Coalition accepts, some members enthusiastically, others with barely concealed resentment. The agreement is formalized with both conventional signatures and dimensional resonance patterns that bind the accord across reality layers. In the celebratory gathering afterward, Telex, now assigned as scientific liaison to Earth, approaches Elena privately. His crystalline form has evolved to better interact with human dimensional technologies, with circuit-like patterns etched throughout his structure. There's something you should know, he begins hesitantly. The oldest members of our coalition have been conducting genetic analysis of your species. He reveals what the coalition's ancient leadership fears to acknowledge publicly. The mathematical patterns in human DNA match precisely those found in the legendary Reality Architect's technology. Humanity isn't just descended from them. They appear designed as successors, programmed to evolve precisely as the multiverse entered its natural entropy cycle. The dimensional fractures, Elena realizes, they're not random. They're part of some vast regeneration process, one that needed conscious guides. As Telex nods, they watch Earth's delegates interacting effortlessly with dozens of alien species across a room where reality itself bends to accommodate all forms of existence. The coalition built itself on maintaining what exists, Telex observes. Your people seem destined to reshape what could be. Elena smiles as a group of human children, born after the fracturing began, play with dimensional energies as naturally as previous generations played with toys. In their hands, reality isn't something to fear or control, but a medium to explore and create with. On Earth, dimensional technology has revolutionized civilization. Cities exist partially in physical space and partially in dimension-manipulated reality. Transportation networks connect through controlled fracture points. Humanity has begun exploring parallel Earths, establishing diplomatic relations with alternate versions of themselves. We never wanted to rule the multiverse, Alina tells Telex. We just wanted to understand it. Perhaps that's why you succeeded where we failed, he replies. You approached dimensional reality not as masters, but as students. As the diplomatic conference concludes, the oldest coalition member, a being said to have witnessed the birth of 1,000 universes, observes the humans with ancient eyes. In their DNA, in their neural patterns, in their very approach to reality, he sees the unmistakable signature of the creators who vanished eons ago. They have returned, he whispers to himself, not as they were, but as they intended to be.